Okay, so funny story. American Wines Matter and myself did a recording a few months back, but I just never got around to editing it and publishing it. And then I figured, you know what? Let me wait until she goes to Trinidad and then I can get her recap. So this episode is unique in that I have incorporated both the first recording and our latest recording. So to help you identify which is which, I have incorporated little sound effects, the rewind sound effects that go so that will allow you to know when we've transitioned from one recording to the next. So I really hope you enjoy it. I love talking to her, love chatting with her. She's a great influencer, and I love what she's doing, and I hope you do as well. You're tuned in to Nice-ish, the Carnival-specific podcast that addresses chat-worthy topics straight off the Caribbean social scene. It's your one-stop spot to get all the information you need to be successful in this carnival-chasing lifestyle. You'll be filled with knowledge and getting updates from me, Shah, and other professionals in the field of Bacchanal. It's time to get nice.
I am good. I'm just so excited to be on this podcast with you. Like, if someone had, I actually, the first time I ran across your content was like several years ago when I was first looking into, participating in a Caribbean carnival for the very first time. And I ran across your website with all the tips and tricks. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And I think at some point you started like making products to sell and things like that. I was like, I'm going to hit it up for some customizable wear. And I never did. But it's just amazing that oh my God, I'm actually sitting here talking to Shah. My mind is completely blown. I'm just grateful.
Thank you. I'm honored as well. For the record, you guys, Tracy and I have never met, but like the vibes and the personal energy are there. I'm like, oh, I love her content. I love what she's doing. So we're really just going to shoot the carnival shit today and talk about a bunch of stuff. And I want to really start off by just you telling everybody, tell us about your background and your profession, your roots, your Caribbean connection, if there's any, and how you got into carnival. Just start talking.
Sure. So, it's really funny when, I have my feather backpack sitting in my office. It's kind of like a conversation piece, and it just makes my patients a lot more relaxed because they see that I'm a person, right? I don't have all these promotion orders and, degrees on my wall. So they kind of get a little bit easier. They're like, oh, so you're Caribbean? And I'm like, no, I'm just Black. I just love culture. So, back in 2014, I have a twin sister. She sauntered into my house, one morning. She was visiting Georgia. And she's barefoot. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And her feet were still hurting from the Atlanta DeKalb Carnival the day prior. And she could not stop talking about it. She showed me her costume. She was like, oh my God, it was so amazing. The energy was insane. I'm in love. I'm addicted. I got to do this next year. You have to come with me. And I was married. So I was looking at my now ex-husband. I was like, hey, babe, can I go? And he was like, yeah, I don't care. I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to go. I'm definitely going to go next year. Next time, sis. You should have told me. If I didn't known, I would have been there already. So 2015, I did the Atlanta DeKalb Carnival with We Kinda Team. I was like, my
oh, wait, I was there. I did that one.
With We Kinda Team.
Was that they had the red section? I was in the red t-shirt section. Yep.
I was in the red section. I don't remember the name of that section, but I still have that backpack somewhere. But I went out there and I gained a whole bunch of weight. I was stressed out to the max, and I was brand new. I was a brand new officer, and all these things were happening to me. So I gained a ton of weight, and I put it on my costume. I had this medium, and I should have ordered a large. And I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna go well, But when I got out there, I saw what really blew me away was I saw all these women with different shapes and sizes, post baby bodies. And there was just oh my God. I'm like, and then I looked at myself and said, why am I so insecure? Fuck it, and I had the time of my life, and I was like, oh, I've got to do this again. And so I'm one of those people, okay, well, what is this about? Because this is a yearly thing. And so I started doing some research, and I started learning it's about, the liberation of slaves, freedom, unity, letting your stressors behind. I was like, this is something I can get with. And I kept going back to Atlanta for several years, and I've just been doing it ever since. And so Carnival became an outlet for me. I've been in the military. I've been serving for 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was enlisted first. I was a combat medic first. And then in 2013, I commissioned and became a physician assistant. So I'm an officer. So my job has a different type of stress, especially, where I'm at now. And so it became a serious outlet for me. And so it's something that I look forward to. It was kind of like my reset button. I put on the uniform every day. I have to, emulate a certain presence. I have to, there's customs and courtesies, just kind of like in that box. I wear the same uniform every day. And psychologically, that's like, there's a part of me that's just ready to just bust loose and break free every once in a while.
Yeah.
And Carnival allows that. And so I've been doing it ever since. And honestly, the more stressed out I get, the more I play mass. So last year I did 5. And this year I have 7. But I just kept doing the research and I kept talking to people and just learning more and more. The more I found like this deep respect for it. And then I started, opening the books, and I ran into that website, Know Your Caribbean. And I started learning about, what exactly is it, that pulls me. It makes me gravitate to this culture, like the rhythms, the energy, the vibe. And I found that there were elements of my African ancestry embedded in the Caribbean culture. And so even though like I'm not a Caribbean person, there's elements of me in the things that, they do. And I think it's absolutely beautiful and amazing. And what I also loved about the Caribbean culture is, there's not a lot of opportunities where as a woman, especially in, our lines of work and things like that, where you don't feel, not in competition. And, you get around, you go out there, and I see the same people every year. Some people only see once a year in Atlanta, and we join together. We're helping each other out. We're putting each other on a pedestal, like, yes, queen, you know what I mean? Like, you're making these friendships and bonding with these people. And there's not too many things or opportunities that I get to enjoy that immerses me in that attitude and that mindset. And so I just know that I'm a forever carnivalist, and it's something that I'm not going to stop doing. And so when, as people started asking me, because I would have my costumes on my personal page, and people started inboxing me about, what is this? And I started talking to them about it, and they just like, I don't get it. Right. And they always say, I don't understand. Like, where's the rest of your costume? And why are you doing this? And what is that dance you're doing? And so I started like educating people through my DMs, like my peers even, about and the culture and what it's about. And I decided to make American Wines Matter. It was just like a little Instagram page that started off back in 2018. I had no idea it was going to pick up, or people were going to be like remotely interested. Right. And so as I started building the page, like people started like jumping in my DMs and asking questions and things like that. And I started running into people, and they started talking to me about their experiences. I was like, okay, well, I thought American Wines Matter was just going to be a point of reference for people that I just talk to or associate with about just helping them understand. And it just became, oh my goodness, I had no idea that this is something that you deal with. This is your struggle. Like, no, you can be a non-Caribbean person and still play mass. Let me show you. And it just blew up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here I am, but it's been a lot of fun. It's one of these outlets where I'm just really blessed and honored to have this opportunity where I can actually enjoy something that's a lot of fun, but also spread the cultural awareness as well.
There's this whole thing now with all this cultural appropriation, and there was a thing with white chocolate, and then there was the thing right, and there was a thing with like the chicks in Marshall's Boss Wine video, and so it's just like there's a lot of, I feel sometimes there's some, I don't know, it's like y'all are talking to different things at the same time. So it's like, what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Carnival to the world? And do you want it to be Soca to the world? And if that's the case, then let's not get mad when it's in the world and people are embracing it. And now you have a problem that people are embracing it. So I guess for me, like, my question to you is like, what have the challenges been as an American Carnival junkie? Like, what are some things that you recall, or maybe not, or maybe you don't have those experiences. You know what I mean? Maybe it's
Yeah.
been all great.
Yeah, so let me first preface. I have not. So this is 2020 is my first year actually going to the Caribbean islands to play Mass. So I would anticipate that my experience may be different, but my lens of currently playing Mass in the United States, I'm welcomed, and I think that as I talk to people, I think they understand that my intention is coming from a very, very pure place, and so I honestly I've been embraced everywhere I've gone. All of the bands I've been embraced and loved and shown, encouragement and things like that. There's band leaders I still keep in touch with that I have great relationships with. I have not encountered, any of that. But I've gotten some side eye, when I bring out, I got some side eye when I bring out my American flag, and and that's okay. I'm not going to pick up another flag to blend in. That's really inauthentic. And ultimately, if Carnival is about celebrating freedom and the liberation of slaves and survival, we're also surviving in America too. We also have our own, challenges, and with it being Black History Month, you start thinking about, the civil rights movement was not that long ago.
At all. At all.
I have family members that were sprayed down with hoses and bitten by dogs. And so I am not going to, hide who I am and pick up a flag from another island, because I represent my family and the people that came before me that allow me to actually, partake in the freedoms that I enjoy here in the United States. But yeah, I've definitely gotten some side eye. Oh yeah. But you know what? It's okay. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I understand, and I think that, my military upbringing has made me have some very, very thick skin, is not everybody's going to rock with you. And that's okay. It is what it is. But for the most part, I had no issues at all. Occasional side eye, but I wasn't whining on them anyway.
You and I had a discussion. You had posted about Masho's video, the Boss Wine video, and I had responded. I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm ready. Not mentally ready to talk about this, because I had mixed feelings, and I felt like my thoughts were probably would be on the less popular side, because like I felt hypocrisy there. So I'm not one to really, in general, I'm not one to react. I think my first response when I see things is to just sit there and let it marinate and let me collect evidence and let me gather my thoughts before I actually say something. But there are a lot of people who just go, you know what I mean? Like they just react. They went in, and I was like, damn, like, so first of all, so if you guys don't know, like go to Masho's page, go back to like January 3rd, and there's a video there with a number of non-melanated dancers dancing to his song at the time, the new song at the time, Boss Wine. So everybody's pissed off because all you see is, where's the Black girls? Where's this? I don't understand. I don't understand why all these pale people are on here, yada, yada, yada. And they just went in.
I think that the biggest problem, and I put this on my Instagram, I think it has absolutely nothing to do with the lack of pigmentation, therefore. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I don't think people can clearly articulate that they feel threatened, like it's a threat to representation of the Caribbean culture and soca music. And I think they just couldn't like articulate that because they were just really in their feelings at that point. But Marshall, he has a song. He says "Soca to the universe." You can't. If I see your tail, if I see your butt screaming "Soca to the universe," and you was on Caps talking about, where's the melanin? Why are these? I'm gonna look at you sideways. And I agree. Like, there's an element of hypocrisy to it, but I think it's a fear. Your fear that the culture that you love is going to be, misappropriated and taken over. It's like, I kind of understand. I understand where people are coming from on that. You have your history books. You learn about Christopher Columbus and Thanksgiving and the Trail of Tears. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about how, Japan literally had cannons pointed at them saying, open your country to trade or we're going to bomb it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. If you've read the history books and you pay attention, you can kind of understand why, you really don't want people with less pigment, okay, partaking, but it is what it is. So to the universe, it's going to grow whether people want it to or not. And I think that the important thing, I think instead of being angry, is take all of that energy that you have and educate other people that are interested in the culture. Don't just say do carnival. Say, hey, let's talk about Caribbean Carnival and why you should do it. Let me teach you about, the different characters that are in Carnival so it doesn't die. The death of,
Mm-hmm.
the Caribbean Carnival culture comes with the lack of education. So take
Mm-hmm.
that energy you got to being angry and put it towards initiatives to promote your culture and not just, the beads and the bikinis and the feathers.
So what's life looking like for you during these times of Rona? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Honestly, I'm just trying to keep myself busy and focus on the things that I can control. I'll be honest with you. Playing math is like a really big stress reliever, and it's part of my morale plan. So it's very difficult watching all of your plans getting knocked down like dominoes as the days
Yes.
progress. Yeah, all I can really do is just focus on the one that might be coming up and just stay positive. I'm taking this opportunity to really just work on my platform and all the things I've been putting off, mainly like my website and some other projects that I've been putting off because I work 18 days straight before I even get time off. So
Mm-hmm.
those 3 days that I get, and then like the 4 days I'm currently on right now, I use that time to get off post and do some leisure. And working on a website or projects is like the least of my worries. But now it's forced me to really focus on that, and I'm actually getting it done.
So on your base, like, do you have cases of COVID on there? Like, what's the feel and the scene like over there?
We do not have any cases of COVID. Let me get that out there right
Yay.
now. So the funny thing about my installation where I live is I live in the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
I live in the middle of nowhere, but I live in the middle of everything. And when I say that, there's a long road that's more than 30 miles to even get to my
Okay.
post. And then when I say I live in the middle of nowhere, and then when I would say I live in the middle of everything, Los Angeles is a 2.5 hour drive. Vegas is close to 3. San Diego is maybe 3.5. So there
Mm-hmm.
definitely is that risk. We're working very hard to make sure that it does not come on post, to be perfectly honest with you.
Got you. So you don't have like you're not doing life hasn't really changed, so you're just kind of doing the same thing, or is there still some type of are there still like restrictions in place while you guys are there?
So maybe a week or so ago, we were advised that we weren't going to be able to go past a certain mile radius. And that was just pretty much to
Okay.
keep us out of those areas where there are a lot of cases, namely Los Angeles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there were some developments just yesterday as I was leaving to go home, because Army-wide, they've increased their health protection measures. And so while I haven't seen a lot of changes in how my day-to-day operations have been, I have a feeling that come Monday morning, things are going to be very, very different.
No, because I saw one of your posts and I thought that you were doing, I thought that you were doing social isolation things as well, but that turns out not to be the case. But as far as Carnival is concerned, at least you got to go to Trinidad, and that was your first time, right?
God, I am so glad I went. Oh my God. I can't imagine the people that have said, I'm not going to Trinidad this year because I want to do all these islands. And then all these
Yeah,
islands are gone. And it's just like, oh my
done.
goodness, they're not gone, they're postponed. I think the only one that was canceled was St. Vincent.
St. Vincent, Guyana says it's postponed till 2021, which
I'm
means
like,
that
why can't you just
2020 is
cancel?
canceled. So I'm just like, just say cancel.
Why can't, I mean,
Anyway,
I
but
don't know
yeah.
why I don't know why they did that, but hey. But no, so I did have a little bit of isolation activities because my twin sister was actually here for a little bit. She's currently
Okay.
she's displaced. She lives in New York
Oh,
City, so she was actually out
mm,
here in California for work, and she didn't realize everything that was going on until I called her up. I'm like, hey sis, what are you about to do? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you might want to check the news. Because you may not want to go home right now. There may not be much to get done.
Right, right, right.
So she stayed here with me for a few days, and so she did end up going somewhere else to Georgia to spend time to get some quarantine bay time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I feel
she's
her.
good. Yeah, I don't blame her. If I had somebody to quarantine up
Yeah.
with, I'd be there too.
I had to do something. I definitely left New York. Like if I'm going to be quarantined in a space for a long period of time, especially since work, like I don't even think we're going back to work because one of our schools in VA closed down for the rest of the school year. So I'm pretty sure that that's what's about to happen for
Oh
us.
my goodness.
Yeah. So if I'm going to be quarantined, I need to be like in a place that I have access to at least a porch to walk out to, a terrace or something, good weather. So I have escaped elsewhere
Good.
until whenever.
Good for
Um,
you.
Thank you. But talk to me about what happened in Trinidad, how that was, your recap. What was it like as a TT virgin?
Gosh, where do I begin? Oh my God. Let me.
Try to get our carnival spirits up
Yeah.
because I mean I think a lot of people right now are planning for 2021, especially with tickets and everything looking the way that they do. They're like, okay, well let's give it a whole, year or whatever it is. So.
I'll first start off by saying that Carnival is like one in Trinidad is one of those experiences that by the time you get done and you go back home, you feel like you were in an alternate dimension. I
Hmm.
think once everything was over, I woke up for like a good 2 or 3 days, still confused about where I was.
I remember texting you. You were like, "Yeah, I just got
I
up after 48 hours."
Yeah, I'm like I was disoriented for a couple days. It was just amazing. But so I initially was supposed to go to Trinidad with two other girls. One girl pulled out early because she wanted to do some family planning, and then
Hmm.
the other girl, I think I inboxed you on this. I pretty much ended up homeless. I don't even want to talk about that.
Hmm.
So I ended up feverishly, trying to search and find a place. I'm like, just to lay my bed. There was absolutely no way that I was not going to go to Trinidad Carnival because
Right.
of what happened. I was like, I had to find some sort of way to make this work. And I just remembered, watching people's stories, and this one girl was trying to sell another girl's, spot in a room that could no longer attend. And
Hmm.
I got in touch with her, and she was like, "Yeah, it's still available, and it was actually much cheaper than how much my accommodations would have been previously, and it included all these fat
Hmm.
tickets that I could not get access
Oh
to."
wow,
Yeah, it was like I'm
that's
talking
a
about
whole bargain.
a blessing. I think the room was like $700 some odd dollars, and then like I bought her tickets that she had been trying to get rid of, like Caesar's Army Ambush, Red Ants, Juve. I was like, what? It was like, oh,
Oh yeah, that's a steal.
this. I was like, you know what? It was meant to work out this way. So the downside to my last minute reservations there, if you, or where you have it, is that it was all the way out in Aruca. It
Oh,
was nowhere near Port of Spain. It was a 40-minute drive to get from Aruca to
ooh.
Port of Spain. But you know what? Those are the cards that I was dealt, and
Yeah,
there was nothing stopping me from going out and playing mass. Because I
right.
had tried to go the year prior, but I ended up having to do a military move and got into a new job, and I just couldn't go. So I was like, no, I'm going this year. So Aruca is pretty much out in the mountains. But it was pretty cool. The first thing I did when I touched down, I was hunting for some doubles, just like you told me to. So here's the thing.
Yes.
Can we talk about food here? That's like my thing. Like they're like, how was
Oh,
Uber
let's do
Soga
it.
Cruise? They're like, oh, I was like, oh yeah, the food was great. I was like, I was like, oh yeah,
the part
can we
the
talk
part
about
about
food?
Uber the part about Uber that people sleep on is that everybody, I don't know, I know the times that I went, people kept thinking that the fancier ones you had to pay for, but you didn't. Like there were a lot
Mm-mm.
of fancy restaurants that were in there that were included in what you got.
Yeah.
So we were like, no, 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 no. You just go. It might look fancy, but guess what? It's included. And we had some bomb ass meals
Yes.
on USC.
Yes.
Mm, mm, mm.
I had my. I'm not gonna don't judge me, but I had doubles for the first time on USC, and my life was changed.
Oh, and I think it'll change again when you go to
Yes.
Trinidad because that wasn't that
Yeah.
wasn't real. Okay.
Yeah. That's what they say. That's what they say. But it was like, oh, this
That
is.
wasn't real.
Yeah, how dare you say you had it on your Uber
Mm-mm.
Soga Cruise? You didn't have the real thing. Well, I was with my other
No, soon
I
as
was
you get off the plane, soon as you get out the airport, well, depending on what time that you land,
mm-hmm,
if you get there like during normal like hours, there's
mm-hmm.
the doubles place that's on the airport, just outside at the outside eatery. Go there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
Yes,
I'm right
yes.
outside the airport. But they were closed because it was like 11 o'clock at night. But I got my doubles, and
Oh
I
God.
did.
Okay.
I ate all the doubles. Uh, I ate so many doubles. Oh my God! I think I made myself sick. Where we stayed was fine. We had like a major safety incident. With one of the groundskeepers that worked the facility, and it was a really difficult situation because I'd already been made homeless prior, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like what other options were there but to stay here and be vigilant. Come to find out later on that we could have had some options, but um, we just didn't know. Other than that,
Mm-hmm.
like it was an amazing time. So um, it really changed my experience because I thought I was going to get there. I thought I was going to get a chance to visit all of the carnival villages because
Okay.
my platform is about the culture, right? It's not so much so about
Right.
the fetes, you know what I mean? Like everybody's covering the
Yep.
fetes. Like where's the platforms that teaches people about the culture? Did you know
Mm-hmm.
there's three separate carnival villages? I had no idea. And I intended to visit those, but because of how things went and me living so far, I didn't do any of those.
Right.
And I just did the fetes, which is probably a good thing because when you're your first time doing Trinidad Carnival, you probably just want to have the overall commercialized
Mm-hmm.
experience and then really branch out and explore. But the fetes were amazing. Now I really had no idea what to expect, to be perfectly honest with you, and my senses were overloaded with the people, the music, the backgrounds, like the friendliness, and just the overall fun and the joy that was out there at the fetes. Just not even hitting Carnival Monday. And
Yeah.
I thought that I was the kind of person that was like, oh no, I'm getting my sleep. No one's going to tell me that I'm gonna fet until I fall down. That's not
Mm-hmm.
happening. But it turned out that way because of the energy and the vibe. Like I was completely okay with getting an hour and a half of sleep before I went out. We got ready to go to Red Ants or
Mm-hmm.
Caesar's Army Ambush. I was completely okay with that, and I was like, how am I not exhausted?
It
Um,
happened. It's that adrenaline rush.
yes, Soka does give you powers. It
Mm-hmm.
really does, and so all the feds were amazing. Caesar's Army Ambush was an experience in itself. All of them were very unique experiences, and I never thought it would be attending to so many Juve fets, but that's just how they turned out. But all of them were
Mm-hmm.
equally as fun. The cool thing about I went to the Soka Street Festival,
Mm-hmm.
and I really, really liked how there were people of all background, shades, colors, size.
Yes.
Um,
We call that, what did I call? I call that the United Nations Fest.
yeah, that was
That's what it is.
I thought that was so amazing because I really didn't see a whole lot of diversity in the other fets, but Soka
Mm-hmm.
Street Festival, that was amazing. I was kind of thrown off a little bit about how it was organized at first because you had to give your cash to get tickets to get chits to buy the
Oh
alcohol
yeah.
and things like that. I was like, what is this? But once
I
I
thought it
got
was a cooler fest. I thought you could bring your own cool though.
I think people brought their code. They did, but you had the opportunity to buy alcohol out there too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and then it was really cool because they had the little mocha jumbies running around. They didn't have like the typical alcohol service. They had mocha jumbies serving alcohol from
Oh.
a funnel. I don't know
Oh
about
my
how
God.
sanitary that was. However, I mean, if people were in the spirit, by all
Oh
means.
my God.
But it was just really amazing. I it was very frustrating with how I actually ended up getting out there, but I kind of feel like it was meant for me to experience it the way that I
Hmm.
did. So I was just like forever grateful for that. And so
I feel like everybody had, I don't know, I know myself the first time that, was it the first time? Yeah, the first time that I went, I was basically alone because of like just the way that things turned out with the person that I was going with.
mhm,
And I was just kind of like, yo, I'm really out here by myself.
yeah,
And what do you do? But you make the best of it. And the good thing is that I knew people, I knew a bunch of people that were there. I just wasn't traveling with them.
right.
Once I physically got to the parties, it was fine, right? Like I might be chilling by myself, which I don't have a problem doing. And then once everybody gets there, it's like, okay, this is good now. But like figuring out transportation was a bit of a challenge because I'm like, I don't know which taxis to trust right now. So I
Yeah.
remember just kind of waiting. I remember choosing like an older man. I was like, oh, he's playing gospel music. Okay, this might be a good sign. Let me go with him. And I got to my destination or whatever. So it was definitely, I won't say that I was scared, but I was like just very vigilant.
Yes.
Being out there by my lonesome, but it was still like a great time. I wouldn't change a thing about that experience that first time.
Yeah. So the good thing about my experience is that since I was taking someone else's travel package through a travel agency, they arranged my transportation, so I had no issues getting from the airport to the resort, and then they arranged the transportation to all the fets and things like that, so I didn't have to worry. The only time I was really by myself was on Carnival Monday and Tuesday because the other girls were playing mass with Exousias and I was with Lost Tribe.
Oh, so, okay. And you looked wonderful, by the way.
That was so much fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, part of me was kind of like disappointed that I was out here in Trinidad on the road by myself. But it was still.
I'm sure you made lots of friends.
Yeah, it was still a good time, and I met a lot of people. It's amazing what happens when you're actually by yourself and you don't have a crew with you. It's actually easy to, it's much easier for you to weasel in and meet people and talk to people, and people, especially when you're playing mass and you're by yourself, as soon as someone sees you that you're by yourself, they're like, oh my God, come over here. You can fet with us. Do you want a drink? Da-da-da. You know what I mean? So it worked out really well. It can be a little bit daunting. But if you just go out there and you'll naturally attract people that are also in the same spirit. The only time I did get paranoid, I got paranoid when it was starting to get dark. So being military, I think about like my anti-terrorism training, anti-sex trafficking training, all these trainings they make me take online every year. So I got a little paranoid and I made sure I turned in before it got too dark.
Yeah.
But I still had an amazing time. It was a wonderful experience. If people are hesitant about going to Trinidad, whether it be by themselves or in a group, just go. Just go. You're gonna find people to go out there and fet with and have a good time with. Just go do it. Just take the plunge. It's an amazing experience. My feet did hurt for several days after though, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I developed an ingrowing toenail, and I'm trying my hardest not to.
Oh no!
Oh my God, I fet so hard. I don't typically. But I'm feeling that the ingrown toenail. My toe is on fire, and I'm just like I really don't want to remove it. But provided that I have like several more. We got several months to like our next jump. If June pans out well, I think I got time to grow it back. So I'm just might go ahead and get that taken care of now. But it was so amazing, and the food. You're so right. Real authentic doubles.
I hope you had more than that. What else did you go to? Did you do Royal Castle or what's the other? Well, the KFC.
Oh my God,
Trini
KFC's chicken hit different. Oh yes, it hit different. It was like this chicken is juicy. It's not dry. And I did go to Royal Castle because I do love chicken. That was amazing. Like I don't even remember. I even tried carrot beer, and I don't even drink beer.
Oh yeah,
I don't even drink beer, but I just felt like I was gonna have a beer, and I really enjoyed the carrot beer. And everybody's like, "You try Stag next." I didn't get a chance to, but I ate so many different things. I'm pretty sure that's what led me to be bloated on Carnival Monday, along with some other factors. But I didn't care, and part of me needs to be consider changing my platform to culture and travel and food because I love them both just as much. But it was just amazing. Yeah. It was so amazing. What a beautiful place.
I was glad that I got to go a couple of weeks before Carnival, so I got my dose of it because that's just the way that I've been on recently. I wasn't really pressed. Actually, I haven't been pressed for years to go back to Trinidad because of how just exhausting it is to plan and the money that's leaving my pockets. I was just like, no, I'd rather I'm that person. I was like, no, I'll use my money elsewhere. So the Bahamas was next on my agenda. Joining you at ATL was on the agenda. Yeah. So, with all those things, I was just like, well, let me get my reimbursement on. What was on your lineup?
Whoo! Okay. So I had Jamaica Carnival for April. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The costume was paid in full. I'm going to make October come hell or high water. May was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be Atlantic DeKalb Carnival with Shiz and Mass with you. Oh my god, I was really looking forward to that. June, um, supposed to be let me see, Bermuda with Code Red. Um, then Hollywood Carnival with Mirage Mass, and then maybe about 10 days ago, I got added to the New Orleans Caribbean Festival with Amethyst Seven. So far, none of those are postponed.
Ah, that's my
She's so
girl.
sweet. Yeah,
Ah, she
she's amazing.
is. She was on the show
Yeah,
just
and then like
now.
her in Living Color just gave me life. Like the
I told her to save
yeah,
me
those
one.
colors. Oh my God. I was like, this is just everything. Um,
She did such a great
yeah,
job, and her like her marketing, everything is
yeah,
just on point, especially for someone doing this
yeah.
for the first time. So very proud of you,
Yay, girl.
Morgan.
Yeah, beautifully executed. Beyond June, I think July was going to be silent. August,
Hmm.
I was planning on going to do Raleigh Carrot Mask. September,
Okay.
I had to go back on the Parkway with Strange. October, October was going to be Miami. And then November was going to be Uber Soca Cruise. But now all of that is shifting so much so that a lot of the jumps are being pushed to August. I may not see Miami. I'm like, oh, St. Lucia, I need my bum on that wall.
Oh, you mean October?
Yeah, it's getting possibly. It's a rumor. It's getting
Yeah.
getting moved to October. They haven't announced their official dates. But I'm like, if SLU is open in October, I probably won't see Miami. So the Grenada is now. I'm considering Grenada because I just really want to do the jab, and I actually have an opening to
Hmm.
go. So what I had planned out for at the beginning of this year is completely getting mixed up, and honestly, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with the flow. It's kind of difficult to gauge because since my mission here is put at on pause on the Army side, I don't know how that's going to
Hmm.
impact my availability in the future if they choose to make up for some of the things that they could not do or just progress along with the
Yeah.
year. There's no telling. I'm also supposed to be getting a new job this later on
Hmm.
this year in the spring or the early summer to plan my move for next year. So I am just trying my best to play it by ear and just go with the flow. Honestly, it's
And I think that's the right way to go. Like everybody's just waiting for dates and dates, and they're a lot of people are just sticking to whatever is being told by these people from the different carnival communities. And in my head, I'm just like, I need y'all to just chill
mhm.
because there's no telling how this is going to go, especially if y'all people continue to just not adhere to the restrictions that are in
That is
place. So
so
it's like you don't know
frustrating.
what's going to
Yeah, it's
happen,
so frustrating.
right? Like you don't know what's going to happen. So let's just sit back and wait and see and then make like I'm not scheduling anything right now. The only thing that I'm potentially keeping like on the list is ATL because even if they postpone it, like I can still just go
Hmm.
down there for the time that I have planned. But yeah, I'm not rescheduling anything for October. I'll wait until a later time to just book whatever it is that I'm doing. And I'm not pressed. I might as well just, y'all might see me in
Yep.
2021. So I don't know. Well, I'm definitely waiting. I'm not even mad about any of
Yep.
this thing. I think it's natural to just go with the flow and see what
And that's all you
happens.
really can do. My biggest frustration, especially from a clinician perspective, is how many people are not taking this seriously. And
Hmm.
it literally is like, a whole classroom of kids getting punished because of one or two people. We're losing our recess time because you don't know how to sit down
Right.
in your chair. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's very it's very very
Yep.
difficult.
Yep.
I'm watching the trends from the Center of System Science and Engineering, and it's hard because the numbers are not dropping yet. They keep increasing, and I'm
Hmm.
just like,
Hmm.
um, I'm just, all I can do is just remind people to do what they're supposed to. Stop trying to avoid the inevitable, which is stay your butt at home. Everybody just needs to do our part so we can, get on the road sometime soon. When that is, I don't know. I'm still praying for at least one more jump in 2020. That would be so nice.
Yes, something at the end of the year, but like even if I wouldn't trust anything in
Yeah.
June or July or anytime over the summer because it could be that one person that, it just you just happen to have it now and now we're starting this whole shit all over again because we're now again resuming our normal life. So it's just like, I don't know that I'm going to even trust it. I think that we need to continue to take these measures until we're like clear. There's no,
and it's not so much so the
know.
devastation and the illness. It's the fact that, this quarantine thing is not only just, protecting your loved ones that can be impacted, but it's also trying its best to mitigate overwhelming our hospital systems when we're already poorly prepared. I think once we get down to a level where we can manage these cases safely and not overwhelm our systems, things will get better. But looking at the trends, we're nowhere near that point yet.
No, because like everything is connected. School shut down. Now parents are home. Kids don't have anywhere to go. Like my friend is, because she doesn't have childcare now, she is at home using up all her PTO to stay with her son who can't go to school because he has certain needs that other kids don't have. So it's like very challenging for everyone, and you don't realize the domino effect that this is having. So just, I don't know. I mean, people like me, I don't mind what I'm doing. I don't mind this whole self-isolation thing because I can be very productive, but you have people in certain fields that don't have that option. So it's not really fair. It's not really fair to them. So it's just, this whole thing is just a hot mess. And I'm looking forward to when it's all over. Yeah. Even standardized testing, I'm just like, with the whole education thing, it's just like, what is going to happen to these kids who are about to go off to college? There's no exams anymore. Some schools are like, oh yeah, they're thinking about, I guess, repeating some of the students, but I'm like, that's not their fault. Like, what do you do? Like, how do you even juggle the decision-making process for that? But we shall see what happens.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why we'll continue to see these events postponed is not so much so fear of the virus, rather people are not thinking about the logistical aspect of what it takes to prepare for an event, let alone a mass band and the production and the feather work. Like, you can't expect to get it all clear in April and then be back on the road in May. That's just not how it works. Unless you just want to wear backline bodywear. And where's the contract for the food, the trucks and things like that? All those things take time. So one of the biggest things that I talk to my friends in my DMs is I remind them, say, hey, listen, like, don't forget everything it takes for these mass bands to create this amazing experience for you. And if they postpone anyway, just understand it's really in everybody's best interest.
Yeah, I was thinking about how, all of these tentative dates right now that are in October. And I'm like, say that there are carnivals on the same weekend, and then you had DJs that were slotted to go to those places. And we know that DJs be doing the absolute most sometimes, and hopping off boats and going to this island just to make this bet. But it's like you have to ration out the entertainment, right? Like, you have to ration out which DJ is going where. Like, everybody's not going to be able to make every carnival. So I'm curious to see how that works out. And I had made a joke on Twitter that, like, all the DJs who are like up and coming that nobody really knows about, like, this is y'all time to be practicing so that you can take some of those spots from the headliners and give, some type of variety. So I think that there are opportunities out there for new people to get on the scene. So it's just, this is all just so interesting. So I'm just going to be here waiting with my tea to see what happens in October. And everybody's like, oh, I'm going here. I'm just like, I'm going to wait to see where all y'all go. And then I'm going to go the opposite direction. So because I don't like crowds at all. Yeah. Have you been what have you been doing? Have you tuned into any of the virtual things? What have you been enjoying since?
So I did pop into Uber Soca Cruise Virtual Fete very briefly. But honestly, I kind of turned to self a lot more. So honestly, I've been enjoying, thinking of new ideas. Like, I'm actually going to start practicing, learning how to make my own feather backpacks, mainly because I'm extra.
and I spent a lot of money already. So I was like, why don't I learn to, pick up a new skill?
Oh, I have a video
yes,
for you.
yes, please. Yes, please. I'm filling my Amazon wish list of things that, I need to buy to improve my platform so I can help people with different learning styles. I've been enjoying playing with makeup since I've got all this extra time and can't go nowhere, because a good face beat for Carnival is expensive. Yeah, so I mean, I've just been like honing my little skills. Working on my website, that was something that I was putting off for a long time. It's time consuming. It sounded really frustrating, and I was about to pay somebody $1,200 to build it for me, and now I'm working on it on my, yeah, and now I'm working on it. So I've just,
No, girl.
once in a while, I'll stick my head out. I'll get on live just to talk to people, and I'll make my posts to pep people up and remind them to stay encouraged, but also remind them to work on themselves. And I go back in my little hole, and I keep working. But the virtual fets are fun to watch, and people are killing me with the challenges. I told people not to don't tag me in any more damn challenges. The moment you had me doing push-ups in socks, sliding my feet towards my hands, that was like, that's a wrap. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm done. But I'm just working on myself. Like, maybe that's an introvert thing, but I'm retreating and taking time to figure out how to be more creative and how to help more people when all this blows over, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. If you want, before we end the call, just share your social media platforms and your new website, which is lovely, by the way. Well done.
Shipping
well
it
done.
a little bit at a time. So you can find me on Instagram. My user is American Wines Matter. I also have a Facebook page that's also American Wines Matter. And then my website is www.americanwinesmatter.com. It's relatively empty, but I'm gradually building it. I do have a couple posts on there. So check it out. Feel free to leave any feedbacks, any messages of encouragement, pointers, and tips. I am wide open. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You just gave me an idea. I should probably get up on my Facebook stuff, because I really hate that platform, but I'm going to try my best. It's just too much to juggle, like Instagram and Facebook and podcasting and YouTube. And
you can only do so much.
I feel like it. And I don't feel like, I don't want to put the energy into Facebook. But I'll see what I can do. I don't know. I'll figure something out. All right, love. Thank you so much. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your days off.
Work on my website, play with makeup. Fill my May Pretend shopping cart for Amazon, even though I'm not going to get stuff till late April because Amazon has cut down on their shipments.
Yes.
I might watch Netflix for a change. Like, I really don't watch TV. I'll find something to do, something to spark my creativity or inspiration. That's I'm always looking to your page and other people's pages for that. So I'll be lurking.
All right, lovey. Stay safe. Too. Wash your hands.
Soap and water, not hand sanitizer. Please, Lord, people.
Hey, bye. Thank you so much.
All right, my lady.
Toodles.
All right, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Nice-ish. As always, I'm grateful for your time and attention. Stay plugged in by subscribing to this podcast, my website, tingznice.com, and following me on all social media platforms. Visit the show notes for all the links and the plugs related to this episode. If you ever have questions about anything we discuss on the show, be sure to hit me up at info@tingznice.com. And remember, sharing is caring, so please pass this podcast on to anyone you believe will benefit from the information. I'm going to check y'all later.